On today's show, the Capitals prepare for their first game of the regular season against the New Jersey Devils. And most of the questions have been answered, but the biggest question remains is who starts at the third line, left wing.
Your Locked On Capitals, your daily podcast on the Washington Capitals. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Well, hello and welcome into this edition of Locked On Capitals. I'm so glad you decided to join me today. As always, this podcast is free and available on all the major platforms, including the SiriusXM app and on YouTube. And I want to thank you for making this your first listen each and every day. My name is Dan Holme. I've covered the Capitals for the last 3 seasons for Locked On and various other outlets before that. I'm also the host of the weekly show called The Capitals Minutecast, available wherever you find your podcasts. You can find me on Twitter. It's at DanCaps218. You can find the show on Twitter. It's at Locked On Caps. And the best way that you can help grow the show is to subscribe to Locked On Capitals on YouTube and comment anything down below. Today's episode is brought to you by our friends at FanDuel. Place your first $5 bet and you'll get started with $200 in bonus bets guaranteed. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. So in this edition of Locked On Capitals, the Capitals prepare for their first game of the regular season. Finally, we've had this whole awkward week off in between. I am ready to talk to you guys about some regular season hockey. And it's interesting that the biggest question that remains is who is going to start at the third line, left wing. I'll talk about that a little bit later. I'll talk about some new threads for the Capitals. I guess I'm dating myself calling them threads, but the Capitals will have a return of a jersey, and the Hershey Bears also look to add a new jersey to the mix for their gear for this new year as well. And then in the final segment, we'll talk about the Caps' 50th anniversary festival that is taking place. All the news and notes right here. But just to get it going here, the Caps do prepare for the start of the regular season. This whole awkward gap in between is really difficult for beat writers and podcast hosts. There's kind of a lull in the action, and it's coming off a summer where it was talking about what ifs and what could be. I was ready to dig my teeth into some new season, some new hockey, and I'll be able to do that as the first game will take place on Saturday. But the Capitals are ramping up. And some of the news surrounding the Capitals, as we know that Logan Thompson has been away from the Capitals for the last few practices or so due to personal reasons. It's being reported that he should be at practice on Friday. So he'll be in the mix for the netminding situation. And also a bit of news as well is that Nick Backstrom was also spotted at practice, not in gear, but just kind of observing and seeing how things are going. I think being that he's in town and in the area for the Caps 50th Fest, but still kind of real exciting to see Nick Backstrom. He, I think for a lot of Capitals fans, holds a fond place in their hearts. And then I'll talk about in the final segment there, seeing Alex Ovechkin and Nick Backstrom sit together on the podium. Just a really great moment for Capitals fans, kind of gives you those warm fuzzies and brings you back to the good old days, I guess I'm going to say, for the Capitals, or at least the good old days here in recent memory. But getting into the big question that surrounds the Capitals on Saturday, you know, it's not going to be who's in net. It's not going to be where's Alex Ovechkin or PLD. Surprisingly enough, the big question is who is going to be that third line left wing? Is it going to be Sonny Milano, or is it going to be Jakub Vrana, the player that got a new deal off of PTO? A lot of intriguing storylines. The Capitals 24-25 season preparation. The Capitals are gearing up for the 24-25 season with their home opener scheduled for Saturday night. Following the finalization of their opening night roster on Monday, the team has diligently been practicing to perfect their lineup ahead of the upcoming game. And it's one of the things that the team itself had to dig deep, that they were practicing at Capital One, where usually, generally speaking, they practice at MedStar. I think they were trying to keep the team fresh And one of the things that Spencer Carberry said is that even though Capital One is the Capitals' home arena, that to start last season, they seemed a little bit out of sorts, sight lines and how the puck handled off the boards, the ice, those kind of things. So the Capitals should be in an excellent position to hit the ground running when the season starts, and that's a good thing. Spencer Carberry has maintained consistency with the team's first, second, and fourth lines. However, there has been ongoing rotation during practice on the left of the third line with Sonny Milano and Jakub Vrana taking turns. And it's interesting, I think it was kind of a foregone conclusion that would be Sonny Milano, but is there the possibility that it could be Jakub Vrana? Now, to be fair, and I'll talk about this a little bit later in the segment here coming up, is that it does appear that Sonny Milano is a bit favored as of right now to take that just because of the good graces with the team and that he kind of has been on the team a little bit longer. So I ultimately think from what I've seen, it will be Sonny Milano in the first game of the season. But to be honest with you, it's too early to really tell until we see the opening night lineups. One question on Thursday about the forwards who would start on opening night, Carberry refrained from making a definitive answer. However, he emphasized the organization's confidence in Milano, indicating that Milano might be given the initial opportunity to fill the void or fill the third line role. So that's the direction that they're leaning, that it does appear that Sonny Milano is the front runner to start in the first game of the season on the left wing on the third line. Again, it's kind of funny that we're talking about it. It seems kind of, a third line. What's to get all worked up about? But that's what we're talking about right now, is there's a bit of a battle, a friendly competition, if you will, at that third line left wing. Talking about Sonny Milano and Jakub Vrana's performance during the 23-24 season, Milano had a slow start but showed improvement in March and April, recording 12 points, 9 goals, 3 assists during that period, including his first NHL hat trick. Finished this season with a total of 23 points, 15 goals, 8 assists. However, Milano's performance in the preseason has been a struggle, prompting criticism from Carberry after his first 2 exhibition games. And he is going to have to bring it. Any good graces that might be in place will be revoked in short order if he does not bring it in the first game on Saturday. It could very well go to Jakub Vrana in the following game. Definitely believe it. Meanwhile, Vrana had an impressive preseason, securing a contract after participating in training camp on a PTO, originally drafted 13th overall by the Capitals in 2014. Vrana is back in Washington after spending several years with the Red Wings and the St. Louis Blues and AHL organizations as well. So he is looking to make a name for himself and maybe solidify a spot on that third line left wing. Carberry praised Vrana's positive attitude and strong work ethic during Monday's interview. He commended Vrana's performance in training camp and expressed confidence in Vrana's potential impact on the team. If Vrana is included in the lineup on the opening night, it will mark his return to the Capitals roster for the first time since April 11th, 2021. A big evening for him, that is for sure. And what we know as of Thursday is the Caps on Thursday top line: Ovechkin, Strome, Mangiapane. No surprises there. Second line: McMichael, Dubois, and Wilson. And again, let this not be set in cement or etched in stone that it could very well be Mangiapane and Wilson flip-flopping. Same goes for Strome and Dubois. The third line, which is the topic of this segment, is interesting. Vrana Milano cycling in on the third line left wing, LaPierre at center, and Alexei Protas at third line right wing. So some questions there, and some questions about LaPierre in the preseason as well. We need to see a whole lot more from Hendricks as well. The fourth line does appear to be set, and I am loving it. Duhaime, Dowd, and Radish. Dowd surrounds himself with some truly great players, and I expect the fourth line to be a knockout yet again. Talking about deep pairings, Chychrun and Carlson, a match made in heaven. From what I've seen, I listened to an interview with Alan May earlier. He is loving that. I'm loving it as well. Martin Faravari and Roy on the second D pairing, Sandin and TVR on the third pairing, with Alexeyev and McElrath being the extras. Now, I have got some comments on YouTube and Twitter about, well, Dylan McElrath is not going to even play anyway. He's an extra skater. Quite to the contrary, there is going to be opportunities for Dylan McElrath to get in some time. Injuries, of course, but also if the Capitals are playing what I'm going to say, a heavy team, a team that has tough guys or is just a tough team physically, see the Rangers, Bruins, etc., those kind of teams, I definitely think you will see McElrath in the lineup. Alexeyev's kind of same goes for him. He will cycle in and out just to keep the D pairings fresh and ultimately to see who lives up to potential and to deal with injuries. You take a look at Sandin, who took on a bigger role last year, but I think that he's fitting in pretty good at that third pairing with TVR, that everything is in its place. Chychrun and Carlson make sense. Faravari and Roy, everything is as it should be, at least as I record this on Thursday evening. So definite interesting questions. Of course, it'll be Lindgren and Thompson, the tandem. I would expect it to be Charlie Lindgren in net, but I expect Logan Thompson to get a decent amount of the workload as well. It is going to be fun to talk to you all about regular season hockey starting this weekend. All right, so coming up here after the break, we'll talk about some new threads for the Capitals as there is a return to an older jersey. And the Hershey Bears, well, they have added some new jerseys to the mix as well. I'll break it all down straight ahead. We're driven by the search for better, but when it comes to hiring, the best way to search for a candidate isn't to search at all. Don't search, match with Indeed. If you need to hire, you need Indeed. Indeed is your matching and hiring platform with over 350 million monthly global visitors, according to Indeed data, and a matching engine that helps you find quality candidates fast. Ditch the busy work. Use Indeed for scheduling, screening, and messaging so you can connect with candidates faster. And Indeed doesn't just help you hire faster. 93% of employers agree Indeed delivers the highest quality matches compared to other job sites, according to a recent Indeed survey. So if you are involved in the hiring, the firing, HR in general, you need Indeed. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/lockedon. Just go to Indeed.com/lockedon right now and support our show by saying you heard about it on the Locked On Capitals podcast. Indeed.com/lockedon. Terms and conditions apply. You need to hire. You need Indeed. All right, welcome back into this edition of Locked On Capitals, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Make sure and join the Locked On Capitals Insiders, where there was going to be exclusive video, short form podcast, and other inside information. Just check out the link in the show description. All right, in this next segment here, we're going to talk about some new threads for the Capitals' new jerseys, and not the team new jerseys, but new jerseys for the Capitals, or a bit of a return to the past. I think it is a perfect mix, and already I know I told you on the show that I love that jersey and I want to get my hands on it. And the moment that I see it, I'm going to snatch it up. And then I took a look at my bank account, and then I take a look at how much they cost, starting at $175. And I'm like, oh, geez, I want this jersey really bad, but I am not right now in the position to spend $175. I got kids, I got a wife, I got a mortgage, I got everything that you guys have. So sometimes it's hard to spend money on those kind of things. But I'm going to say, if that thing is around Black Friday, I'm going to scoop it up, especially if it's on a good deal. But it is definitely a nice looking jersey, to be sure. And I think a jersey that they could look to add to the mix. Now, to be fair, just reading some comments on social media, on various outlets, some people love it. Some people are like, that thing is ugly. I guess it's just your perspective on what you think is good looking and what isn't. The one thing I know for sure is the current Red Capitals jersey is ranked as one of, if not the worst, in all of the National Hockey League. So something to let roll around in your head there a little bit. The Capitals have officially announced the return of their black Screaming Eagle sweater as their third jersey for the 24-25 season. This highly anticipated design is now available for purchase online for the first time. And it's one of the jerseys that they were talking to, I think it was Chris Patrick, where I heard in an interview, and they're like, yeah, we're aware that the Capitals fans like it, and we like it too, but it still has to get the blessings of the NHL as well. But I do think that we will see some form of that jersey in the future. I think that, the Capitals and their upper management staff, they are well aware. They got boots on the ground. They know about these surveys and the perception that that red jersey is ugly. And I think that they're waiting to unveil their new jersey at some point. It might be next year or the year after, but I do expect a big change with the jerseys that the Capitals wear. It sounds a bit trivial, but it's really not. To just take a look at some ugly jerseys, there was quite a bit of criticism about Utah's New Jersey, that it does make a difference. And, teams that do it really well, the Anaheim Ducks, I think, looks like a knockout jersey. The Kings, some teams have made some alterations and changes, and some of them I have really liked. The third jersey inventory was released on Thursday at 11 a.m. by Fanatics, featuring a range of products to choose from. These include jerseys of popular players such as Alex Ovechkin, Tom Wilson, and TJ Oshie, as well as customizable premium jerseys and youth jerseys. Additionally, fans can also find the Alex Ovechkin Mitchell & Ness Black 2005-06 Capitol Dome jersey, along with Capitals 50th anniversary hats. There still is some old inventory there, and I'm going to say I have some Mitchell & Ness gear at home, and it does look really, really nice. The black alternate sweater draws inspiration from the team's iconic mid-90s design, prominently featuring the Screaming Eagle on the crest and the team's old Capitol Dome logo on the shoulder. This classic design has been brought back by the Capitals in celebration of their 50th anniversary season. And that's what it's all about. The 50th anniversary. The Capitals are hyped, and it's something to be excited about, as this team has done really good things in its 50 years that they've been playing hockey. For those interested in adding more to their order, Fanatics is offering significant discounts on the team's old Skriegel merch as a part of their special edition line. Furthermore, the NHL store is also featuring discounted Capitals Cherry Blossom logo hats, which we know are kind of the same as the Washington Nationals. The Nationals jersey looks very, very well with that cherry blossom. That's something that, if I had heard about that, I'd be like, hey, I like that cherry blossom. It's like, kind of doesn't tie into my masculine tendencies, I guess I'm going to say. But all things considered, seeing is believing. And I actually like that cherry blossom jersey for the Nationals as well. I think it looks good, regardless of what people might think of that. But it was not just the Capitals. The Hershey Bears have announced a new jersey as well. The Hershey Bears have announced that they will be donning special commemorative uniforms for their first two games of the 24-25 AHL season. This special event will kick off with the banner-raising game against the Cleveland Monsters on Saturday, following by another game against the Monsters on Sunday evening. The team will be swapping the regular chocolate and white home jerseys for unique back-to-back Calder Cup champion sweaters for both games. And let's not, take that for granted. The Hershey Bears, the Capitals' AHL affiliate, back-to-back Calder Cups. Can they three-peat? I definitely think it's possible. The first look at these special jerseys was revealed by Hershey on Thursday evening, generating excitement among fans. Again, a really nice-looking jersey. The jerseys will feature a crest in the center matching the back-to-back Calder Cup Championships logo displayed at the center ice inside Giant Center this year. Notably, the first B in the logo is cleverly created using the numbers 13, symbolizing 13 championships the franchise has earned throughout its history. Unlike the center ice logo, the jersey's crest will be outlined in gold after Sunday's game. The jersey will be auctioned off, giving fans a unique opportunity to own a piece of Hershey Bears history. Again, if I was a younger guy when I had more disposable income, I would have definitely been in the market for that as well. And we're talking about a change in how you're going to view AHL games. Now, last season, how I watched the Hershey Bears when I was watching them online, I think it was AHL TV. There has been a change in that as well to Flow Hockey. I'm going to be honest with you. I've heard some mixed results on it. Some people said it buffers. Some people says that there's streaming errors. In any event, that is just anecdotal cases that I've heard. I haven't witnessed it personally, but if you get a chance to, and you can't make it to Hershey, check out some of the games online. That is how I check out a lion's share of them. Flow Hockey will be live streaming the season opening game between the Bears and the Monsters on its social media platforms, including Facebook, X, and YouTube. The puck drop is scheduled for 7 p.m. Eastern on Saturday. So some big news, and it's, interesting that we're talking about jerseys, but it is something to talk about. And, it's a fresh look for both respective teams, the Capitals and the Hershey Bears, that they will have some new looks and something to look forward to in the upcoming season. All right, so coming up here after the break, we'll talk about 50th Festival, which took place, and there was some big-name Capitals players, some from the present, injured players from the past. There was a lot to be excited about, a fun evening to watch. I watched some of it online. I'll talk about it coming up. Hey, NFL fans, you can start this season with a big return on FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. So when you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. And now listen, guys, I know that sometimes you're really into the football games because there is a lot of football to be played on any given Sunday, Monday, or Thursday. Say it's the Commanders or say it's the Ravens, but say it's a weekend and your team isn't playing. It's a bye week or something of that nature. Open up the FanDuel app, put a little bit of money on some of these games, and all of a sudden those games got that much more exciting. You'll get started with $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet. That's FanDuel.com. All right, welcome back into this edition of Locked On Capitals, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. So Capitals 50th Fest was going on. It was streaming on Monumental. I kept up on all of it. I watched some of the video. I listened to some of the beat writers out there talking about their thoughts, some photos. Looks like a really great evening. It would have been a fun event to be at, seeing Alex Ovechkin and Nick Backstrom on a podium together, seeing some Capitals players from the past and even some going way back. I saw Holtby there. Just a real special evening. Troy Brouwer, definitely a trip down memory lane. And the Capitals are really rolling out the red carpet on the Capitals' 50th anniversary. The Washington Capitals' 50th anniversary festival was a spectacular celebration of the team's rich history and promising future. The event featured a lineup of current and former Capitals players, each sharing their unique experiences and insights. Troy Brouwer, Brouwer Power, you remember him. What's not to love? He reminisced about playing alongside Alex Ovechkin. Despite the challenges, he expressed that it was all worth it along the way. That was a comment that Sammy Silver posted on the Hockey News. Vrana showcased his exuberance by performing his famous floss dance on stage, adding a touch of lighthearted fun to the event. This is a guy that the fans love. This is a guy that even the broadcasters, I heard John Walton, I heard Joe B, they are so excited that Jakub Vrana is coming back to the team. And I think a lot of it was in the vacuum of TJ Oshie, being on the LTIR. When you talk about TJ Oshie, you talk about his great play, but also what kind of great guy he was on the ice and also off the ice. So in a lot of ways, I think that Vrana was brought in because of his skill, but he also has more talents that aren't as easily quantifiable as being a guy that people like to be around. He smiles. He brings out the best in people, and it was fun to see him on the stage, kind of mixing it up with Tom Wilson, and it seemed like all the guys were having fun on the stage. The stage was also graced by the presence of Capitals alumni such as Matt Bradley, David Steckel, Thomas Fleischman, and John Erskine, serving serving as a powerful reminder of the team's storied history. The arena buzzed with nostalgia as fans reflected on the journey from the inaugural Capitals to the recent alumni. Alex Ovechkin, the iconic Capitals captain, spoke passionately about the pursuit of greatness and kind of deflecting a little bit as he was asked about catching Gretzky and passing Wayne Gretzky. I think it makes him a little bit uncomfortable, and I think that he feels that pressure, so he deflects it the way he always deflects it. He said he's more worried about winning more cups with the Capitals. Well, there's 2 seasons left, and are the Capitals going to win a Stanley Cup in the next 2 seasons? Hopefully, but it will definitely be a long shot. Emphasizing the importance of winning another Stanley Cup, Nicholas Backstrom fondly referenced the Young Guns era, reflecting on the joy they experienced during their first run. And, you know, I had a shirt back in the day that said Capitals Young Guns on it. And it's funny, you know, as you get older, these things seem like they were not that long ago. In all actuality, it's been quite some time. So definitely as a Capitals fan, if you've been with the team for a while, it definitely makes you feel a lot older. The event also provided a platform for esteemed figures like Bondra and Langway to share their wisdom. Bondra shed light on the challenges of a goal scorer's job, while Langway expressed his admiration for John Carlson's success, albeit with a touch of humor. The festival is not only the time for reflection, but also for camaraderie. Jakub Chikrin shared a heartwarming anecdote about his father reconnecting with Alan May, highlighting the enduring bonds that unite the Capitals family. And Alan May is a guy that is a wealth of knowledge on the Capitals. I trust his insight. I listened to him on a podcast earlier, and anytime you can listen to that guy, he knows the game so well. He knows the Capitals so well. So I like to sponge up as much as I possibly can from that former player and current broadcaster. As the current roster, including Ovechkin, Backstrom, Tom Wilson, and John Carlson, took the stage, the excitement for the upcoming season was palpable. Ovechkin expressed his enthusiasm for the milestone 50th year, noting that it would mark his 20th year with the team. Can we believe it? My, how time has flown. The Capitals' 50th anniversary festival was a testament to the team's legacy, bringing together past and present in a joyous celebration of hockey history and community. And here's to 50 more. I'm loving it. It was a great evening. And the one thing I know about the Capitals and Ted Leonsis and the whole organization is they spare no expense. It looked like a truly great evening for Capitals players, former players, fans, press alike. A really top-notch thing, and it was fun to watch, and I hope all the players and the people involved enjoyed themselves. I know I enjoyed it watching from at home. All right, once again, I want to thank you for joining me on this edition of Locked On Capitals and making it your first listen of the day. For your second listen, find Locked On Fantasy Hockey, become a fantasy hockey expert, and get the edge over your league mates with daily tips from Steal and Flip. Find Locked On Fantasy Hockey on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. All right, once again, I want to thank you for joining me on this edition of Locked On Capitals, your only daily year-round podcast covering the Washington Capitals. And I want to thank all of you that listen on the audio side and watch this on YouTube. You are what makes this show successful. All right, once again, I want to thank you for joining me on this edition of Locked On Capitals, and I'll talk to you again next time.